Coming up next, as people in a Santee neighborhood struggle to make sense of this week's plane crash tragedy, the streets in the area are opening back up, and a neighbor whose property was hit by debris gives us a tour.
The FBI needs your help finding a man accused of sex trafficking and child pornography.
Plus, the local school district that is turning to parents to fill the gaps in its worker shortage.
And the San Diego Unified School District faces a challenge of its own tonight.
2 weeks after San Diego Unified announced a COVID vaccine mandate, a lawsuit has been filed against the district. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. Let Them Choose, an initiative of the anti-mask Let Them Breathe group, is behind this lawsuit. They say vaccine mandates are unnecessary.
News 8's Kirsten Holmes was at their announcement this morning. She joins us live with details. Kirsten?
You know, as we all shift into the next phase of this COVID-19 pandemic, vaccine mandates are being implemented all across the country and right here in San Diego. And one group we talked to today say those mandates are going too far.
This lawsuit is really to protect families' choice, and so we're not taking a stand one way or the other on the vaccine.
Sharon McKeeman is the founder of Let Them Breathe, and their newest initiative is Let Them Choose. She says they're advocating for choice.
We don't want any families to be coerced into this medical decision, and we're very confident that the judge is going to address this in a timely manner because it's obviously a firm deadline that's very urgent.
Jackie has a son in San Diego Unified. She believes in not having a vaccine mandate so much so that she has now been reassigned by her employer after vaccine mandates were implemented at the hospital for which she works.
I'm a pediatric registered nurse, and I've advocated for my patients' medical autonomy for years. And even though I'm no longer in the hospital setting, I will continue to advocate as a nurse for medical autonomy, specifically those of our community's children.
The latest Politico Harvard poll show, although it's close, most adults favor a vaccine mandate for school kids, with 54% supporting the move and 45% opposing the idea. However, a Quinnipiac poll found that 68% of Americans with kids under the age of 18 say they do not think that students should be required to get vaccinated against the virus, while 30% support the vaccine mandate for kids. Sharon says she's advocating for what she thinks is right.
Vaccinated and unvaccinated standing together for choice. No one should be shamed over if they wear a mask or not. Everyone should have the right to vaccinate, mask, or unmask, or remain unvaccinated.
Public health is not an issue of personal choice, and to make choices that endanger your neighbors and your community is not a reasonable choice. And we've always had vaccine mandates for school, and this is no different.
Andrea Lehman has kids in San Diego Unified School District, and she says she supports the vaccine requirement.
I think it's long overdue, and I'd like to see it go down to age 12 for everybody whose vaccines are available. We've just reached over 6 million pediatric COVID cases in this country, and we're not getting a handle on it. It makes no sense to group together the one group that there's no vaccines for and not put protections around them.
Sharon, the founder of Let Them Breathe and Let Them Choose, does not have children in the San Diego Unified School District. She says that she chose SDUSD because of its wider-reaching impact.
Kirsten, has San Diego Unified shared any reaction to this lawsuit?
Actually, we reached out to San Diego Unified School District, and they are unable to comment on pending litigation.
All right, we'll have to see how the issue plays out in court. Thanks, Kirsten.
The NTSB now has most of the wreckage from Monday's plane crash in Santee and will begin to piece together why the twin-engine Cessna went down.
Today, streets in the neighborhood reopened, and people who live there are seeing the damage firsthand. One neighbor gave our Steve Price a tour of the damage in his backyard.
It's been 2 days now since a plane crashed about a half a block away from Clyde Reveley's home, but he is still finding unexpected items in his backyard, like this, a spring that's obviously from a garage door. And check this out, it's still attached to a giant piece of wood, and he has no idea how it got here.
At first, I thought it was an earthquake.
Clyde Reveley's house shook. Then he came outside and saw smoke.
It was pretty intense, a lot of heat.
Clyde didn't realize it at the time, but one of the plane's engines landed in his sunroom, and he's finally figured out how it happened.
Hit there, It was spinning, so it flipped over and hit right up there, punched a big hole, and then hit down below.
The engine then bounced off some bricks in his patio and smashed through the sunroom's glass door. You can see there is still glass everywhere.
Glad it stopped when it did, because I wasn't that far from it.
And here's the other side of that wall where the engine hit. Clyde says his insurance company has already been over to take a look.
It's an oil plug, oil drain plug.
Clyde is also finding other parts of the plane on his property.
Now, this is some kind of a sensor, probably from the engine. And then this is a control knob for some device in the plane.
Clyde figures the force of the impact sent those parts flying in his direction. But what he can't figure out is how his neighbor's garage door spring also ended up back here. And that's not all.
My neighbor's fishing lure.
Clyde also found a window frame from a neighbor's camper and a fishing reel. And some of the other items.
It might be some sort of a cabin heater.
He'll let the NTSB figure out what they are.
I'll keep it here for a while, and then if they want it, they can have it.
In Santee, Steve Price, News 8.
The San Diego FBI field office needs your help tonight finding a wanted fugitive. Michael Pratt is accused of being involved in a conspiracy to recruit young adult women and minor girls to engage in sex acts by force, fraud, and coercion. The FBI says his porn sites generated $17 million. Pratt is from New Zealand but has ties all over the world. He's described as 6 feet tall, about 210 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. Anyone with information is asked to call the FBI at 800-225-5324. A $50,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest. The county is following the city of San Diego's lead when it comes to getting so-called ghost guns off the streets. County supervisors Nathan Fletcher and Tara Lawson-Reamer announced policies today to prohibit the untraceable weapons. The policies will be voted on next week. If approved, an ordinance will be created. Meantime, California Attorney General Rob Bonta is joining a San Francisco lawsuit targeting 3 online sellers of ghost guns. The lawsuit claims the companies misled some buyers.
Starting next month, the U.S. is set to ease COVID restrictions for people traveling into the country.
Our border with Mexico will reopen for non-essential travel, but all travelers must show proof of vaccination.
News 8's Heather Hope has reaction tonight from some local business owners who are thrilled.
Yes, many businesses here in San Ysidro are so elated they can start to get more foot traffic and more people down here to shop, because it said it's been so long they've been under really tough travel restrictions, and some are skeptical that things will even change come November.
This is the livelihood of San Ysidro. The businesses that are operating today are operating at 24%.
Many are ready to get businesses back on track following the federal government's announcement to allow fully vaccinated non-essential travelers from Mexico to enter the U.S. at border crossings.
The rest of the world has been recuperating for, at least 6 to 9 months. So, we're still in June 2020 here.
San Ysidro Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Jason Wells says out of 800 border businesses, 282 have closed for good due to border restrictions.
On average, about 74% of our clientele comes from across the border. A large majority of them are pedestrians with tourist visas. So this means everything to us.
A big boost for small businesses like Cali Hemp.
With this news of it opening up soon, that's incredible to hear. It's really good news. It makes us really happy here at the border with all these businesses trying to struggle to keep up.
Rossi's Fashions is ready to take in more customers.
When the border closed, we lose like 65 or 75% down.
But how will it work? The Department of Homeland Security has not specified the date in November, nor detailed how Border Patrol will handle the increase in crossings.
CBP can't conduct 100% vaccination checks without having 5, 6, 7 hour wait time.
Non-essential travelers must show proof of vaccination, but it's unclear what type of vaccines will be accepted. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria, along with the mayors of National City, Imperial Beach, and Chula Vista, all advocated to reopen the border.
This has had real impacts, dollars and cents, and in human impacts.
The reopening comes just in time for the holiday shopping season.
65% of our businesses actually make their entire net sales between November 20th and January 6th.
I feel so wonderful.
Heather Hope, News 8.
Hope they can recoup some of that money. Thanks, Heather. Hundreds of firefighters are battling a growing wildfire near Santa Barbara. This one broke out Monday and has quickly burned more than 15,000 acres. It is only 5% contained. Flames have forced the closure of part of Highway 101 and are threatening homes and ranches, including one that was once owned by Ronald and Nancy Reagan, former president. 10 engines from CAL FIRE San Diego are helping in the firefight.
The Biden administration is taking action to try and unblock the logjam of consumer products stuck at U.S. ports.
As Natalie Brown reports, the shipping bottleneck is leading to rising prices and is threatening the holiday shopping season.
With port problems boiling over off the coast of California, President Biden announced new efforts to address the logjam after meeting with industry leaders.
Today we have some good news. They're going to help speed up the delivery of goods all across America.
The Port of Los Angeles says it will expand to 24/7 operations, and some of the nation's biggest shippers and retailers are committing to expanding their hours too, including UPS, FedEx, and Walmart.
This is an important step to be taking today.
John Drake, the VP of Supply Chain Policy at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, classifies the current supply chain issues as a crisis.
I think if this issue is not addressed, that the American consumer is going to see price increases across the board. The business community can't simply continue to absorb the types of increases in transportation costs.
The country is also dealing with a truck driver shortage. The Department of Transportation says it's working with states to get trucking licenses out faster.
The increased demand for goods combined with disruptions has increased the cost of goods just ahead of the holiday shopping season.
I don't see this challenge being fully behind us until the end of next year and possibly into 2023.
A new report from the Labor Department shows inflation rose again in September. The Consumer Price Index is now 5.4% higher this year compared to last. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen believes prices will eventually return to normal once the supply chain issues are resolved.